Mic check, 1 2 1 2. What's up, guys? It's Sam, the Portuguese mofo here, and I figured do another replay here. We're gonna go to a loss I had a little while back against Tsu. Tsu. I wish I knew how to say his name. I played him a lot, before I got into the Shogun group chat. We became friends through playing each other in Shogun 2, and we did a lot of 1v1s and 2v2s against people, so he's a solid player, right? And he was in the same boat as me, just trying to build an avatar, follow the samurai side. So we were able to work on some things, right? Because there's definitely ways to approach playing the other side, right? If you're Follow the Samurai, playing vanilla, playing Follow the Samurai, I think most people would agree, right? It is more difficult to be vanilla and take on Follow the Samurai, depending on the map. I think more so than anything. But to get into this, I've got Light Lancers, so I got 2 units of Light Cav on my right with my Fire Cav. I've got Bulletproof Samurai. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 katanas. Pretty standard for me at this point. Right, my Bojen. I've got 2 Yari Cav on my left flank, as well as some mounted gunners. So, they said loss of Bokeh Shame, so I must probably do some pretty terrible maneuvers in here, right? So we've got the Shinsengumi police force. We've got 3 of them. We've got 3 Kyoto police. 4 Kyoto police. And we've got 2 sharpshooters. And then we've got his general, who is a gun general with some melee stats. I don't see Gunpate or leadership stuff there, so that seems to be where he's at. Now, I am sure he has some... Again, this was a while ago. This is a pretty blind commentary here, so I do think he has Cav hidden somewhere. The question is where. So we've got the farmhouse in the center. We've got the workshop over there on the left flank as I look now, and the shrine on the right flank as I look. Or my left flank if we're looking from my direction. So let's see if I dismount here. Doesn't look like I do. Which I should have done that if that was the plan, right? So wondering what unfolds here. Right, I've got my mounted gunners here, overlooking the dojo itself. I must eventually dismount my soldiers there in order to get the dojo, I would imagine. But pretty slow to start here. I don't really need to slow-mo it. Now that we've gone over the armies, maybe slow it down in certain points. So he's getting the Kyoto police and the Shinsengumi police force, right? So these guys, they can fire well, but they're actually just really good. Or I shouldn't say necessarily really good, but very solid in the melee, right? So alright, here we go. There's the Yari key, right? Coming for this Yari Cav over here. I'm going to pull back, right? And I did dismount the Lancers there. So let's see what unfolds and where I start to make mistakes, because there's got to be somewhere where I make some pretty aggressive mistakes, right? I move them over, right? So the Yari, now they're anti-cav being on the ground. I mean, they're anti-cav technically being on horseback too, but even more so, right? On foot. So if he had continued that could have worked out well for me, but smart on him, right? Not taking this engagement. 2 Yari Key versus 2 Yari Cavalry and the mounted gunners. That wouldn't be a good engagement for him, so good job, right? So I do realize I have the cavalry, right, strength, so I'm trying to just get some good positioning around, okay? And really, like, the only one that matters, which I got, right? I shouldn't say it's not the only one that matters. The workshop would be pretty important for this, but right, I've got the morale shrine. So in this situation, right, I feel pretty good about it. All right, I'm gonna get a charge in on these Yari Key. with my superior cav numbers here, but let's see what goes down. Do I not get out of here? That must be what happens here. Right, he's getting his Kyoto police in, and he's not actually able to get shots just because of how this looks. So we're gonna get out of there, right? Yari key. To be honest, right, I did not get the better of that engagement. I don't think, surprisingly enough, right? We're gonna take another charge in. Nope, I guess we're not. Oh no, we'll finish it. The mounted gunners, I'm just trying to move them up, but they're really not in good position again, right? My bulletproofs are getting shot up. I don't know what I was doing. I get the rapid advance on them, but that's a little bit, ooh, yeah, and he gets my mounted gunners, right? So this was just poor micro of trying to do both, and, right, get my mounted gunners in that situation, right? So he's just doing a good job of screening this all, okay? And the real issue here, right, I didn't follow. I needed to follow with my infantry behind these bulletproofs in order to start making a push in an advance. It actually probably would have been good for me to get the farm. This was honestly a misuse of my ability. I was going to charge them in like that. Yeah, just poor job with my mounted gunners. I really should have tried to bring them over here to get better line of sight. Every time they're approaching from here, right? Just no line of sight. Can't shoot even as they're moving forward. So, just some notes to take there. Up on the top of a bogey. And this is where the terrain analysis comes in. Oh my god. Foolish. You know what? I deserve to die for that move. Alright, so, okay, but now I do know I gotta do something, right? And I think at this point, I'm probably, in my head, realized that I have really mismanaged, first, this fight up here, right? Pretty much mounted gunners, 25 kills, that's poor use. Even against Fall of the Samurai, right? They could have had a great fight just for how he built his arm. And to be honest, I think I had a decent build for the situation, but I just, right, poor management here. You know what happens, you live and you learn, right? That's why it is one thing when you're playing Fall of the Samurai armies, right? Like, that charge with the bulletproofs would have been okay if I followed with all of my katanas. Now, I don't know if I would have gotten this charge uphill, right? But it would have just done better to, right, force more movements on his end, and if I had better managed my cavalry up here. Right, but, you know, it would have been interesting to see, right? They've got a really good melee defense, okay? It still would have been a good close fight, right? If I had gotten the sharpshooters, it would have been important, but if he was really effective, he would have had those Shinsengumi police force, right? Move the sharpshooters right behind them as I charged him up the hill, and he'd be able to get shots over the top of them. Tough situation for me. Honestly, I didn't pick a great build for Boki Gorge 2, and I just know I picked it because of where I started on the map. I was the host. So, good game to my opponent, and I'll have a lot more matches that I'll pull up from time to time with him. A good mix of various things, and I would try a lot of things with him. So, a good match, right? So some lessons from there, right? Like, don't charge in units isolated, right? Make sure the mounted gunners have good shots. You know, I normally wouldn't bring mounted gunners against all the samurai army, but they could have been super effective in this battle. But, right, the way I was approaching with them, right, they couldn't even get shots off as they moved. Not that you're really looking for that a whole lot. But, yeah, right, so pretty piss poor performance on my end. Even my bodyguard only got 35 kills. They usually always do better than that, right? The fire cav, they might have done the best. Nope, the katanas did. Nope, this one did, 88. So once they got into there, they were to get some kills, but, right, just pretty terrible performance on my end. Sharpshooters did well here. The Shinsengumi police force did pretty well. That might have been the one that was fighting the bulletproofs. And then these Yariki, honestly, they both did pretty well for what they were dealing with. I had the cavalry advantage, and along with his Kyoto police and his general's bodyguard, he was just able to nullify priority, which I really needed. I think I really needed to win that in order to come out of this battle. So, anyways, if you come across this, I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something, and have a good one.